Hi everyone. I don't normally make these kinds of videos, but I'll make it an exception this time around. I would like to read to you a write-up I did regarding a situation that happened to me and my family, specifically my mom, last night. So Friday, August 19th, 2022. And the post I'm reading is a two-part post that I wrote on Instagram. I'll link that in the description below, but I thought it would also be good just to read it out because it does concern a very serious topic that I think reflects some of the very serious situations in our society nowadays. So, in short, yesterday, my mom became the target of a hate crime. So, let's get on with it. That's our topic. If you can get a sense of how heavy this topic is. Okay. Yesterday, my mom became the victim of a hate crime. The truth is, within my family, it is still a very disturbing experience. But I want to write about that moment in order to inform and encourage others to stand up against this kind of injustice. We had been walking near a seaside restaurant. I'd been walking a little slower, so I was several meters behind my family. When I neared the corner of the restaurant, a younger woman, probably in her 30s, insulted my family. First, she ordered my younger sister to take off her mask, telling my parents that having my sister wear a mask is child abuse. And for the record, my family has continued masking for the sake of our health and general safety, as COVID-19 is still on the rise, and my sister is old enough to understand that COVID-19 is not going away, so she did not want to take her mask off, especially during that moment. Also, when it comes to masking, my sister is usually the most cautious one in my family, so why wasn't it okay for her to just leave it on as things were? Moreover, that woman didn't wear a mask, but we didn't say anything about that. Second, when my mom spoke up for my sister, telling the woman to mind her own business, the woman told my mom, "Go back to whatever country you came from." I was behind the woman when she shouted the racist comment. So I shouted back as she was entering the restaurant that she had been talking to my mom, so she'd better knock it off. Words are not enough here. I was extremely infuriated. So, why am I telling all of this to you? Well, first off, hate crimes have been increasing in the United States, especially towards Asians and Asian Americans since COVID-19 emerged. For example, go back to where you came from, the China virus, etc. Basically, a lot more increased racism, prejudices, and narrow-mindedness. As someone of American and Asian descent, this experience appalls me so much because there is a huge difference between learning about racial injustice and actually experiencing it. Moreover, I am worried about my sister more than ever before. Yesterday, she witnessed extremely rude, disrespectful, and racist behavior. She witnessed our mother be disrespected by a complete stranger, specifically racial injustice and prejudice. Now my sister feels she has to question the safety of her world from a young age because of race, ethnicity, and the like. In other words, how do we live in safety within the sea of racial tension and prejudice? My family made many happy memories at the beach, but we won't forget that moment either. This isn't just a problem of the United States. This is a problem of the world, and we as a global international community must strive for racial equality and justice, not only for our generation, but for future ones as well. So that was the write-up I had posted. And true to the words I emphasized in that write-up, I am still very shaken by what happened. Like I mentioned, I have learned about racial inequality, racial injustice in classes I've taken before, but there is a very fine line between learning it and then seeing it or witnessing it happen to you or to someone close to you. It just hits differently. And quite frankly, though it seems to be kind of a topic that we've discussed a bit amongst ourselves, my family and me, and that we are now trying to move forward from, it has no doubt shaken us because that kind of behavior shouldn't even be happening. It's beyond unacceptable. It's beyond going what the founders of this nation intended. I mean, yes, I've been on this earth, 2 decades? What do I know? But the point is, we live in a very changing world where cultural diversity, a more diverse background, a more diverse set of people are coming together. And in my mind, the United States has been founded so heavily on people from so many different parts of the world. We have a lot of international universities here. We have a lot of international students here. We have people that come to this country looking for work, looking for an education. And to just demean people based on where they came from. I mean, I'll admit, the comment the woman made about the masking, that was one thing. I think that was a step into sticking your nose in other people's businesses. But the racial jab was completely, and I cannot emphasize how much, I mean completely, unwarranted and unexpected and uncalled for. And I sincerely would like to hope that we as a society would not have to deal with this problem. But sadly, this is the world we live in. We like to believe that racial injustice and inequality are not as big an issue as they were in the past. But the truth is, it still is very much so. And my mom is just one of so many people out there who have faced this kind of racism, this kind of prejudice, this kind of discrimination. And I've definitely noticed a bit of Asian hate crimes, in the news, increasing more so since the coronavirus started over 2 years ago. But it just, like I said, words are not enough. So I encourage all of you, whether you've read my post, whether you're watching this video, I heavily encourage all of you, any of you, to educate yourselves on this. Be informed about this, because it's usually the people that speak up against injustice that are able to have an impact on the world in some way. I may only be one person. My family may only be one family. My mother may only be one mother, one person. But I strongly believe that the largest changes start from even the smallest sparks, from the smallest viewpoints that stand out. And so I encourage, again, all of you watching, listening to this, reading about it, keep informed, keep educated. Our world is changing, and we need to come together as a global community, as an international community, to really deal with this problem head on, to really work towards the racial equality and justice, happiness, liberty, freedom, and compassion for all. And that means, in layman's terms, not judging others for such things as the color of their skin, their religion, their ethnicity, their gender, their sexuality, all of this stuff. I mean, my topic that I'm describing to you today pertains specifically to racial injustice. But if we want to make a difference, we have to consider injustice as a whole and how it divides us as societies, as a community, as a species, as people. And so, again, leaving off, I do heavily encourage all of you to become the informed people that you can become and, grow stronger from these experiences, grow stronger from knowing about these kinds of circumstances. Because if you can be the light of hope and knowledge in a world of darkness and bigotry, somewhere along the lines, in some way, I believe it makes a difference. So that's a personal story from me, from my family, from my mom. And I hope that you've gained some insight in listening to this, and at the least think it over and work towards becoming a wiser person through all of this, because I would not wish that kind of treatment upon my worst enemy. I would not wish it upon anyone, period. People deserve to be treated with respect and decency, not chided for their race, not chided for where they come from. Because in the end, we all live on this planet. So it is our responsibility as a global international community to work towards cooperation, not division. Thank you.